I alluded to this. I know we're running out of time, but I alluded to this because you said we were talking about, who should be deported. Judge halts deportation of non-binary. This is from the Globe and Mail. This is somebody who's in Canada illegally. Judge halts deportation of non-binary American in ruling after Trump's gender edicts. So apparently it's unsafe to be an American in the freest country in the world, where they give you pride parades everywhere and they force DEI on you in all the major companies. Apparently you cannot be deported back to the land of the free and the home of the brave if you declare yourself a sexual minority. Angel Jenko is engaged to a Canadian and set to be deported back to the United States before the federal court justice is ruling. This is not like you are a gay gazin and you are coming to Canada because you don't want to be dragged behind a motorcycle in the streets, which is actually what happened to a Hamas commander once they found him in Tel Aviv, because he fled to Tel Aviv. And I'm not making this story up. I don't even know if he was gay. He was just accused of being gay. And so he fled to Tel Aviv because it's safe to be gay in Tel Aviv. They have a pride parade there. But Hamas went and found him there, took him back, and then killed him. This is Angel Jenkel, a 24-year-old multimedia artist. Okay, that's not a real job. From Minnesota, who's engaged to a Canadian, can now remain in Canada while their case is judicially reviewed in a judgment that their lawyers hailed as precedent-setting, because it's dangerous to be an LGBTQ plus American since Donald Trump took office. This is ridiculous. Get out. Yeah. And take your fake job with you.
What are the odds, Sheila, that a non-binary multimedia artist hails from Tampon Tim state?
Yeah.
And by the way,
exactly. You're going back to Minnesota, Democrat state.
No.
You're fine.
I mean, even in the 1984 election, when Reagan won 49 out of 50 states, Minnesota was the one holdout.
You're not you're going to Minnesota.
Yeah.
You're not going to Ramallah.
Yeah.
I would hear the argument if you were going to be deported to Ramallah. I would. But this is nonsense.
And
Go, you're in a Democrat state. You're fine.
And by the way, Sheila, I hate to be a nitpicker, but if you say you are non-binary, whatever that is, well, the fact that you identify as non-binary, that means you're part of a binary, right?
Oh, God. You know what?
It's so confusing.
Don't even bother to try to make sense of it.
Well, I'm sure her parents are so proud of him, her.
This is crazy. This is just making a mockery of not just Canada, but also the Americans. You're not in danger because you don't get to play sports against biological women. That's not, don't compare yourself to a real refugee fleeing war and persecution because you can't go punch a woman in the face in a boxing ring.
Yeah.
Get real.
Yeah. Well, Sheila, as I've said before, this isn't on us, men. This is females.
I know.
These are typically, I'm stereotyping here, but white liberal females that are all in on having female safe spaces, whether it's sports or shelters or prisons or locker rooms or showers invaded by gender-bending male grifters. Ain't on me. It's on you women who are watching this live stream. Well, maybe not you personally,
not
but
us.
Your demographic is what's driving this. I don't get it. It's like being part of Chickens for Colonel Saunders.
You know what? It's the white liberal cat moms. And I say this as someone who is at least a cat godmother at this point to my cat. but it is. It's the women who they're either self-sterilized through cross-sex hormones or because of climate change. They just think kids are a plague upon the earth. But their daughters don't have to live with the consequences of their bad ideas. My daughters do. And yeah, it's the left has weaponized the empathy of women against them in the most misogynistic of ways.
Yeah. No, I couldn't have said it better, Sheila. And that's what I observe. And certainly if our viewers go onto our channel, you can see our latest Transanity on the rugby field. Chloe Jorg is with the Scarborough Aces, and the game we went to see, that's Efren and I on Saturday, he was injuring real female players.
In that I would have, Chloe Jorg is unstoppable. Yeah, sure is.
Yeah.
Now, I wish you had pointed out in that video that this garbage is illegal in Alberta.
Yeah, well, it's illegal everywhere, ostensibly, Sheila, according to World Rugby rules, the international...
Yeah, but it wouldn't matter. It doesn't matter the sport is what I'm saying. Whether it's baseball, contact sports like rugby, ringette, soccer, basketball, it's illegal in Alberta just for biological good sense and sportsmanship.
And public safety. And I mean, when you saw in that clip, Jorg going through all those females breaking, 3 or 4 tackles all the way into the end zone. You know, that, and here's what we saw on Saturday. You know, just look, it's a runaway freight train. Why? Because that's a dude. And by the way, if you look at the physique of Chloe Jorg, this dude makes Ash Davis of Fergus look like Skinny Minnie, okay? Look at this.
Oh, look at it fending with his elbow like
You're not allowed to do that, correct, Sheila, in rugby?
No, you can fend. It's fine, but it's just
no, but you can't use your hand.
No, you can fend with your hand. I'll send you some player, but like he could easily fend with his hand and use momentum, but he's fending with his elbow, which is, I think, not exactly sportsmanlike. It's designed to harm when you're fending with your elbow. You can use momentum and fend with your hand.
But what I'm getting at, you're not allowed to punch, right?
No, of course you're not allowed.
Okay, well, look at some of that footage because maybe I'm seeing it differently.
You fend with an open palm. You can also fend and like grab someone's jersey and like throw them. So, but there's some Anyways, that was just like an unnecessary elbow fend. It's within the rules, but it's also not exactly sportsmanlike. But neither is playing against girls when you have a wiener. So.
Nobody on the field that day, including the opposition team, the Toronto Nomads, which were smoked and had injured players thanks to little dainty Chloe. Nobody had a problem with it. And, you know, part of the problem, I think, Sheila, I think I'll have a follow-up video about this. It's the indoctrination. It's how they think this is perfectly reasonable. And there was a telltale sign on the uniforms of the opposing team, the Toronto Nomads. They all had the Pride Progress flag as a permanent patch on the sleeves of their uniforms. So what's that telling you? I think what it's telling us, Sheila, is that this sport has been colonized by the Rainbow Mafia. And
in Ontario.
In Ontario. Okay.
And you know what? I don't think that it's necessarily the case everywhere. And look, rugby, you cannot be homophobic and play rugby, especially women, like women's rugby. You can't be homophobic and play it. So they can just put those allegations aside when they say like, oh, you're being homophobic. No, look, the majority of the major female players on the face of the earth are lesbian. That's just, I think maybe that's just the kind of sport it calls to aggressive women. But there's something that there's no excuse for a biological man to be playing a contact sport against women, and especially like no contact sport ever, but rugby, your only equipment is your mouth guard. That's it.
And Sheila, this is what makes this grotesque. You know, as you said, it should be all sports. I mean, cycling isn't contact sport. You're still at a disadvantage as a female cyclist going up against a male cyclist. But if you had to pick the one sport on the face of the planet, with the exception of boxing, and we know the IOC is all in when it comes to Transanity that way, it would be the game of rugby. That is pure physical contact with no protection. And we saw, I welcome our viewers to look at the footage. Look at number 6 on the Toronto Nomads, had to be helped off the field. But the coach, who wouldn't let me talk to his players, he's fine with it. And he called me a bigot for raising the issue. Do you get that, Sheila?
No, this man is completely ideologically captured.
Yep.
And whatever he feels about the rainbow community, a coach should care about sportsmanship.
Yep.
And he cares about none of that. And the safety of his players. He doesn't care about that. He would rather sacrifice the safety of his players and sportsmanship on the altar of diversity.
And Sheila, when it comes to inclusion, I have a way to fix this overnight. Well, it's not an original idea. Coach Linda Blade talks about this in her book on this invasion of female sports. We have a transgender division. We have male, female, trans. And, so if you're a man who thinks he's a woman, or a woman who thinks she's a cat, you name it, you join up. And you know what, Sheila? I think I'd tune into that now that, Barnum and Bailey and Ringling Brothers Circus is no longer around. This could be a real freak show that would garner my eyeballs to watch it. So there you go. I'm not about excluding anyone, even people in the radical transgender community. Just don't mix men with women in sports, unless, of course, it's equestrian or auto racing. It's been thus ever since the inception of sports that the sexes are divided, with very few exceptions, and certainly contact sports, something so physical as rugby, that was never meant for men to play with women, and the world governing body, World Rugby, even says so too. There you go.
Yep. I think it was swimming. They tried a co-ed division, like international swimming, and like nobody signed up. so then
so
it
too
is
bad.
about cheating, by the way. Yeah, but that's the thing.
Too bad.
It's
So
cheating.
sad.
Not,
Because I know.
They say it's about participation in the sport. Well, if it was, then you would sign up for the co-ed division. But it's about cheating, which is why none of you signed up.
And also, it's about the psychosis of these people, the Ash Davises of the world, the Chloe Yorgs of the world. They will say, well, what do you mean? I'm a trans woman, and a trans woman is a real woman. And I'm going, no, honey, you're not. You still have your male wedding tackle.
You know what? Even if you don't, live your life however you want. You just can't play against my kid in sports. You just can't.
Yeah.
I don't care. I don't want to care. So quit making me care, please. Other side of this debate.
So Sheila, we see blowback against this in the UK. We see blowback in the US. Remember in February, Donald Trump signing executive orders to reinstate Title IX, protecting female sports. I don't see any indications in Canada of any blowback here. Am I wrong, or do you have some hope for the future?
I don't think it's going to be my problem all that soon, because Alberta is sane when it comes to this stuff. And it's a highly popular policy here in Alberta. There's little to no pushback from the sports organizations, who previously you would think had been ideologically captured. They're not pushing back on this. So I guess it's up to the other provinces because these sports are governed provincially, to do the right thing. And it is alleged to me that Doug Ford is a conservative. I have yet to see it. He could just as easily do the hard thing that our female premier in Alberta did, but he's just not gonna.
No, and in the Department of Plenty of Blame to go around, the Ontario Minister of Sport is Neil Lumsden, a former CFL player, MVP, Grey Cup winner. If anyone knows the dangers of a physical sport, let's face it, football is a form of rugby, it would be Lumsden. What did he do the other year? He gave additional funding to Rugby Ontario. He topped up their funding for doing the wrong thing. So he is all in terms of wokeness. I bet you, Sheila, he doesn't believe this, but he's going along to get along. And the fact that this is a so-called conservative government, what a joke. Shame on Ford, shame on Lumsden.